Welcome back, everyone. Toldinstone, another video. We got Roman houses still inhabited today. This is really cool. Really cool. When we say Roman, that begs a question: where is it? Italia, which would be the coolest of all the places, but is it Byzantine, or is it like Germania or Gaul or Britain, etc., etc.? Let's find out. Glad you're here with me. Make sure to hit that like button. I appreciate you being here. Let's go.
When we think of Roman houses, we tend to think of ruins, of broken walls and empty windows, and lizards skittering over sun-baked mosaic floors. There are a few Roman houses, however, that have never been ruins, and are still used for their original purpose.
Probably late Imperial Rome, right?
None of them, as we'll see, look much like the familiar mansions of Pompeii.
Looks like a mine.
But all have been inhabited repeatedly, and in some cases continuously, for almost 2,000 years. We'll start in the city of Rome. The monastery of San Gregorio was founded in the year 575, when its namesake, the future pope and saint Gregory, converted his family's ancestral mansion into a monastery. By the time it became a monastery, Gregory's mansion was already centuries old. It seems to have been a sprawling structure, with warrens of rooms ringing its central courtyard and grand reception halls. One of these halls likely became the current monastery church, which is pictured here. The only obviously ancient part of the church is a marble throne, reportedly used by Gregory himself.
Wow.
While it's impossible to know whether this is true, the throne is certainly ancient, and may have come from the original house.
That's cool.
Another part of the house became the chapel of Sant'Andrea.
Look at those frescoes. Beautiful.
The frescoes visible today date to the 17th century. But beneath them, and beneath the medieval frescoes they cover, the walls of the ancient mansion still stand. A neighboring chapel preserves an ancient Roman table made of marble, at which St. Gregory is said to have served the poor of Rome. We have no way of knowing whether this is true, but it is at least possible that this table, like the throne in the main church, once stood in Gregory's house.
That's really cool.
From Rome's shady
What? Insane looking. Siberia?
Kylian hill, we move to sunburnt Cappadocia in central Turkey.
Never mind. I saw the architecture. What do you call that on the left? It's like a... Is it a spire? No, but it's definitely Islamic architecture. Yeah, this is Turkey, which makes way more sense.
These days, Cappadocia is a staple of travel brochures. During the Roman era, however, this bleak and windswept region was one of the most remote parts of the Mediterranean world, known, if at all, for its extreme climate and the cave houses of its inhabitants. Since long before the Romans...
So, dystopian, but ancient. It's just interesting to put my finger on it, but... Whoa. Like, imagine what this looked like 2,000 years ago.
conquered the region, the people of Cappadocia had been tunneling stables, houses, and whole subterranean cities into the formations of volcanic rock that loomed over their villages. The golden age of such building began in the late Roman period, when the first cave churches were cut into the region's spires and fairy chimneys. Although precise dating is impossible, some of Cappadocia's cave houses were certainly inhabited continuously from the Roman era to the 20th century. Many, in fact, have been renovated and now serve as upmarket hotels.
I think Mr. Beast might have done a video where he stayed. It was either him or somebody else, where they stayed in a very, very similar place to this.
For our next example, we journey to the edge of the Syrian desert. Syria has the best preserved Roman houses anywhere. During the late Roman era, a booming regional economy sparked the foundation of dozens of towns, each with its streets of sturdy stone houses. After the economy of Roman Syria broke down in the 7th century, many settlements were abandoned.
So, through the spread of the Rashidun Caliphate, that's when that happened.
The houses, some, like this example, 3 stories tall, survived the centuries remarkably well. When the regions around them began to be resettled, many of the Roman houses were in such good condition that they were simply reused. The best preserved houses of all are in the Hauran, in southern Syria, where, thanks to the absence of wood, walls, floors, and roofs were all built from thick slabs of volcanic stone. The 2 examples shown here, drawn as they appeared in the 19th century, were more or less perfectly preserved, and both inhabited.
Wow. That's surprising, though, but it's interesting.
The most impressive example I could find was the imposing and perfectly preserved mansion shown in this drawing. When that drawing was made, in 1865, the mansion was inhabited by the Sheikh of Amra. Of course,
Sheikh of Amra. What is that? What nation is that? Sorry, I'm ignorant.
a lot has happened in Syria since then.
Yes.
I can only hope that this fine building still exists. And now, back to Italy. Over the past few decades, the Sassi of Matera have become one of the biggest tourist attractions in southern Italy. They look like nothing else in the country, row on ragged row of weathered stone houses, built into a natural amphitheater of limestone. Although most of the masonry visible today is medieval,
I wonder how this contrasts with, like, how the Pueblan Indians of America built their houses in terms of, like, tools and structural integrity. I think limestone, whatever other volcanic rock here, is much stronger and suited for lasting structure. However, I try to draw parallels within time frames, and the Pueblan Indians were even much later than this period of time.
cave houses behind those walls are much older. They were already ancient when the Romans arrived.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe this place is super old then, like 500 BCE type old.
Some, in fact, may have been used for thousands of years before Rome was even founded.
Okay. Rome was founded around 500 BCE, so we're talking like 1500, 2000 BCE. That's crazy. So, like, wow, Bronze Age, Iron Age, who knows? And I mean, it makes sense. Like, most people lived in caves a long time ago, so this could be like a good hybrid. You know, interesting. Sassi de Matera. Interesting.
Individual cave houses are almost impossible to date, both because the basic design changed little over the millennia, and because the caves were constantly modified.
Yeah.
At least a few, however, have been more or less continuously occupied since the emperors reigned in Rome. Last but not least,
Is Florence?
we head to the sunny shores of the Adriatic,
I said Florence. There's no way this is Florence.
and to Split, a medieval town built on, in, and over a gargantuan Roman villa. That villa was the retirement home of the Emperor Diocletian. It was an immense complex, with palatial reception rooms, cavernous storehouses, gleaming marble temples, and barracks, all ringed by walls high and strong enough to defend a city. Almost as soon as emperors stopped visiting, people began to trickle into the villa from the surrounding countryside, seeking shelter from the barbarians behind its colossal walls. By the 7th century, a permanent settlement had developed. The villa's central courtyard, shown here, became the town square. Houses were built in the imperial suite. Shops crowded the vast cellars. And, in a splendid bit of irony, the mausoleum of Diocletian, arch persecutor of the Christians, became the church.
That's funny.
The town thrived and grew, and has become a destination for tourists.
We saw a similar thing with like the temple video that we did, where people would take refuge in the ancient temples, and they'd live there. They'd have livestock there. It's crazy.
Who come by the thousands every year to see this fascinating example of a Roman house that's still inhabited today.
Oh, that's in Dalmatia. Okay.
I hope.
Interesting. That was very cool. Very cool. Love these videos. They're short and sweet, but they also give you a glimpse into how time erodes history, but how history somehow stays a constant within certain structures. Is there any, if there's any like structure that this channel, or sorry, this video did not cover that's very cool for us to check out, please leave a comment down below. Love toldinstone. If you haven't subscribed to them yet, go subscribe. They are probably one of the best channels I've seen on YouTube when it comes to antiquity of Rome, even Greece, but really more Rome, and how the lasting impacts have survived today in several fashions. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. You have a great rest of your day. Peace out.